I was a dishwasher. Okay. I did everything in restaurant 10 years, construction 10 years. And you know what? I am proud of my roots. My
it makes you who you are. You're just like me.
My father worked as a waiter and was a probation.
All right. This is your life. This is your life.
You sound like my kids.
I love your story.
That's how they react. They're like, Dad, not again. Stop.
All right. Hannity, great show. Great information as always. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you tomorrow. All right. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is the Ingraham Angle. Tonight, the coronavirus infecting more than 8,000 Americans now as more are being tested, leaving more than 115 people dead. HHS Secretary Alex Azar is here with the latest on what the administration is doing to contain this virus. Plus, we're inching toward an economic crisis. Are we already there? What's going to happen if we handle all of this wrong? And all of this, in retrospect, looking back on it, maybe 6 months or a year from now, maybe it was way overboard. And is the left using the coronavirus as an excuse to push its radical social agenda with criminal justice reform? Bernie Carrick is here on that. Also ahead, seen and unseen. We need a little of that tonight with Raymond Arroyo on the political news that you're not hearing and how we're adapting to life in quarantine. My angle is coming up in just a moment. But first, we return to Bill Hemmer, host of Bill Hemmer Reports, for the latest on the coronavirus outbreak. Bill, what's the latest?
Hey, Laura, good evening to you. We're trying to assemble a series of numbers and try to tell you a little story about what we're seeing out here, okay? This is the U.S. map here. As of about 5 or 6 hours ago, we had 7,374 cases in the U.S. Now, just watch this number, Laura, okay? Go back 2 weeks ago today, we're at 129. So in 14 days, we got the 7,300 cases. Over here, New York State hit the hardest, 2,480 cases. 2 weeks ago, New York, well, hang on 1 second here. Well, that's not going to go that way. 2 weeks ago, we were down around 24. So today that number's around 2,400. I want to take you across the room here, Laura. We've been watching this chart here really for the past 5 days. And so the viewers at home know what you're looking at here. These are the cases, the orange line, the cases in China that have run for the last 2 months. You see how it flatlines there? That's what they always talk about, how we're trying to achieve that. This is the number of recovered cases in green. That's a really good sign. I like to see that. This yellow line here are the cases in countries everywhere around the world except for China. And Laura, that is the graph that's heading up. And we want to see this thing jog a little bit to the right, even more so, and flatten out. I'll try and zero this out. 30 minutes ago, we got our latest update. Been watching this website, 9:33 Eastern time tonight. All these numbers shift and change around. We're 270,000 cases globally on the map. About 8,700 deaths, and the total recovery mark here is 84,000. Again, we want to see that go higher and higher. Italy was really smacked today. They came out with a number lower to blow your mind. 470 people in 1 day died as a result of this, mostly in northern Italy. Iran has been hit very hard as well. They came out with a number close to 150 dead. Now they top more than 1,100 in Iran alone. I'm going to give you some good news in this, okay, as we crunch these numbers and look at this map, trying to figure out how it changes throughout the day, and it literally changes by the hour. Here in the U.S., we're over 9,000 now. So even that data that I showed you at the beginning of this report, Laura, it's old. We're 9,000 total confirmed, 145 deaths at this hour. But this is what I want. This is what I want you to think about, Laura. We have 106 cases recovered in the U.S. That's the first time since watching this particular website in 5 days that the U.S. has had any green numbers on the recovery mark. That means you've had 2 days of negative tests, or you're out of this quarantine, and you are set to be okay, free and clear. So we'll watch this number the coming days and weeks as we go. Back to you, Laura.
Bill, the numbers sure are changing. My goodness, just from the beginning of the show. Thank you so much, Bill.
Sure.
Relief and reckoning. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Over the past few weeks, I've heard from some of the smartest medical minds in America about both the nature of this hideous virus and the most promising treatments that are currently under investigation. Because other countries have been dealing with this longer and on a larger scale, some of them are ahead of us on finding the best drug treatments. On Monday, I told you about 2 of them. The anti-malarial drug chloroquine and its sister, hydroxychloroquine, manufactured by Sanofi Labs. Now today, the issue was brought up at the White House briefing by our own John Roberts.
French researchers have had some luck with hydroxychloroquine in shortening the duration of disease. Is that something that might be in the arsenal of therapeutics here in the United States?
I think we're exploring every one of those issues. There is things that look really good in cell culture against the virus that may look good in small animals and then don't have an impact in humans. Of course, there's always anecdotal reports, and we're trying to figure out how many anecdotal reports equal real scientific breakthroughs.
Well, I'm not sure what she meant by anecdotal, but the renowned French researcher and infectious disease specialist, Professor Didier Raoult, was tasked by the French government to examine possible cures for COVID-19. And yesterday, he described his results as promising. Good news. In a video posted on the internet, he said that the first batch of 24 COVID-19 patients that he had treated with the drug chloroquine had seen a rapid and effective speeding up of their healing process and a sharp decrease in the amount of time they remain contagious. Yes. Well, China and South Korea, the countries hardest hit with COVID-19, they've already developed guidelines for physicians who are prescribing the use of chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine as treatment options. It's not just in animals, and it's not just in a lab. Chloroquine was chosen after China did several screening rounds of thousands of existing drugs. Chloroquine is undergoing further trials in more than 10 hospitals there now. Whatever the president has to do to cut red tape and bring clear treatment options such as this, and also preventatives to Americans, he needs to do it. And I bet it's coming soon. Which brings me to my next point. Demanding total cooperation and openness from China or else. In a pandemic, it's essential that our health experts work cooperatively with other countries and that we all share data and findings about the disease as we try to stop its spread. All over the world, wonderful and brave doctors, I've been able to talk to some of them, who are treating COVID-19 patients, are posting their findings online, and you can read some of them in even chat rooms where the doctors are talking to each other. It's fantastic. But we need the Chinese government to give us total and complete access to all their scientific data, including, by the way, the findings of doctors who first studied and discovered the virus. Some of that information was apparently destroyed. Well, we want to find it. We want it back. We want to know everything about patient zero. We want to know everything about the true recovery rates, the true mortality rates, including those who were locked in their apartments and left to die in Wuhan. And if China isn't willing to work with us, think about this. In defeating this pandemic and ensuring that something like this never happens again, look what happened to the American people today. Their stock holdings, their 401ks, many people losing their jobs. Think about this. If they're not operating in total transparency regarding this disease, then we have to ask ourselves why we want to continue to be integrated with them at all on any issue. We have nothing against the Chinese people, just like we didn't have anything against the Russian people during the Cold War. But President Xi and his Politburo have to come clean here, or we need to reconsider, or consider, frankly, taking severe measures against Beijing. We need a new industrial policy made in the USA all the way. If they don't come clean, we have to revoke China's most favored nation status for trade. We have to ban Chinese investment in the U.S. We have to strictly limit Chinese travel to the United States. And by the way, forget that second phase of the trade deal. We have to add tariffs. Well, that should get their attention, don't you think? Not only has China thus far refused to allow our top medical officials access to all the data, all the hospitals, all the premier researchers, they're kicking out our journalists who are actually there trying to report the truth about what happened going back to November, December, January, and what
just try to get it in the position when you get
the New York Times reporting that the Chinese government cast its expulsion of the journalists as necessary to defend Beijing against what it perceived as an ideological campaign by the United States to impose its values on China. Yeah, the value of truth. And yet, despite all this, despite what's happened, despite how awful this has gotten for people all around the world, and of course here, somehow, there are American journalists who are still fretting about China's feelings.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China.
A person at the White House used the term Kung flu. My question is, do you think that's wrong? Kung flu.
In talking about China, you've been very clear about who you think is to blame or where the origins of blame for this virus is.
No. I don't think. I know where it came from. It comes from China. And it's not a question about that.
Good for Trump. Oh, and when we're not worried about the virus's nomenclature, we apparently want to help the economy of the country responsible for our national nightmare.
Hey, look, China's paying us billions and billions of dollars in tariffs, and there's no reason to do
Not bad, all in all,
We're getting
from that
billions
line.
of dollars a year from tariffs from China, and I can't imagine Americans asking for that.
Yeah, well, the question was, the people are telling you to take your tariffs off China now. Shouldn't you do this, given that? Unbelievable. Now, look at how much time was lost because China covered it up at the end of last year, covered up the virus. They threatened doctors. They refused to allow independent medical teams in to assess the situation. In its handling of COVID-19, and this is going to sound tough, but China has blood on its hands. One recent study found that if China had implemented its control measures a week earlier, it could have prevented 67% of all cases there. Implementing the measures 3 weeks earlier, from the beginning of January, would have cut the number of infections to 5% of the total.
Come on, let's go to the next team. Let's get on with it.
Wants
It's a long
everyone to
day.
think that we're supposed to fawn over China's containment efforts. That's ridiculous. We cannot sit by and let our people have their lives threatened, our entire economy devastated, not by a contagion that originated in China, a country that still refuses to allow the NIH unfettered access. I was thinking about this today, first of all, how blessed I am to be able to have a job and keep working during all of this, and to have all of you watching every night, have my health and my family's health. But I thought about the millions and millions of Americans who work their butts off every day and see their dream of having a retirement someday, putting their kids through college, vanish because of this virus. Much, if not all of this, could have been avoided if China had only been forthcoming from day one. My friends, this cannot stand. And that's the angle. All right, joining me now is someone who's been dealing, of course, with the coronavirus since our shores 2 months ago. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us tonight. We've been talking about this drug, hydroxychloroquine, for 3 days now. I first introduced it on the air on Monday, also a sister drug, chloroquine. What can you tell us about the administration's ability, perhaps, at some point soon, to fast-track more trials here in the United States, as they've done in France and China?
Well, Laura, you've been great about calling attention to this drug as well as all kinds of other measures that we could take. Let me just assure you, President Trump is absolutely adamant that we leave no stone unturned in bringing therapies, cures, vaccines to the American people. And he's going to make sure that even drugs on an experimental basis get available to the American people. You know, this is the president, remember, who brought us right to try when it comes to drugs.
Good speed.
He's going to take that
Just
same
not saying the
attitude
lines the
when
way
it
you'd
comes
like to.
potential therapies and making them available to the American people. I can assure you of that.
Oh, it's also a really cheap drug, and at least hydroxy doesn't have the same sometimes side effects as chloroquine does. Now, there's also been an amazing story just yesterday, out of Italy, where the small town of Vo, Mr. Secretary, was able to completely stop the spread of the virus. Now, here's what one of the experts involved in the study said about it. We were able to contain the outbreak here because we identified and eliminated the submerged infections and isolated them, said the VO of the approach. That is what makes the difference. So given the fact that testing seems to really give people a better sense of who's obviously infected, but people who are asymptomatic even. What can you tell us tonight about our ability to ramp up these tests and the reagents Mr. Secretary, that a lot of these drug labs are saying they don't have enough of.
Well, Laura, that's why from the early days we've actually encouraged the states, local governments, public health labs, but most importantly the private sector, the clinical labs here in America, to get these diagnostics developed and get them out there. And now they've got millions of these tests that they're producing. They're working to get them out there. And what we're trying to do is actually help facilitate states with getting the people connected to those tests, to get it easier to get tested here in the United States, get you faster results so we can get that visibility. We've been on this from day one, trying to get the states, local governments, and private labs engaged, removing regulatory barriers, anything that stands in the way, we've been working to get rid of. But, one of the important things as we think about that Italian village, the Imperial College, which has some
right into the bunker there.
One thing that they found, the single most important intervention that we can take on mitigation is actually if a family member is sick, all other family members staying home for a 14-day period while that individual is sick. Really one of the
right,
most
but you have to know, Mr. Secretary, yeah, the problem is there are a lot of people, maybe most of the people who have it are asymptomatic, and yet they're passing the disease or the virus on. So if we're not testing people who are asymptomatic, which we're not now, then how do you contain it without locking down the whole country and destroying the economy for the next, couple of months?
Well, Laura, that's actually why as early as February 13th, I've called for including the test as part of the broad panel of scans that we do, along with flu scanning for anybody when we're testing folks. That could give us broad surveillance, so we've called on cities and states to implement that kind of broad surveillance. So we agree. We want to have as quickly as the private labs and the state and local labs can get testing at a broad scale. We want to get as broad a scale testing as we can get here in the United States. We agree.
Washington Post tonight, Mr. Secretary, you're also supposed to have. Am I getting that right? I don't. It's very confusing.
Laura, you got it absolutely right. We've got a strategic national stockpile, but that's for like a hurricane. That's for a small dislocation. That's about $500 million a year of product, mostly like smallpox vaccine, botulinum antitoxin, basically bioterrorism countermeasures in there. The private sector of medical and surgical material in the United States is $1 trillion. That's why the president today authorized the Defense Production Act so that we can work with the private sector to actually help allocate those the $1 trillion of supplies in the channel, get them allocated so they go where they're needed most, not just where they happen to be stored or hoarded. We've got a lot of supplies in this country. They just may be in the wrong place.
Yeah, well, they're killing you guys tonight, and this is the Washington Post, so I always take it with a grain of salt. But they're killing you. Saying, well, the CDC told
that looked to be a mystery.
The states that if you run out of face masks, use a bandana. But be careful with how you use a bandana. So they're going crazy about that. The CDC, someone at the CDC, I guess, in a pinch, if you don't have a face mask, and I mean, you're dealing with this every day, right? Because people are freaked out, and they want reassurance that this will end, and they want to know if they really need a test, they can get a test. When are we going to see those drive-through testing capabilities that are easy from your perspective, seeing the federal level at the state level?
So the president's been driving a whole-of-government approach here to help the states and local governments and labs do what they needed to do, which is set up those kind of convenient drive-through ways for people to connect up with the tests. You shouldn't just have to go to the doctor or the hospital. We ought to make it easy. We don't want potentially sick people going into these healthcare facilities and getting others sick. So some states, over 10, have taken the initiative and actually launched these themselves, as they should have done. But we're going to help others do it. And we're going to help them stand them up. And starting this Friday, we'll have some up and running, and we're going to keep working with states and local governments to expand that capability.
And Mr. Secretary, finally, I just want to say, I know you're working, and all of you are, like 24/7. I mean, it's a lot, and thank you for what you're doing. You take a lot of grief, as does the entire administration, the president right in front. So
I wonder how you'll handle this shot.
On behalf of the American people, we're praying for you and for the recovery of all of those afflicted.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks for all you do also to keep us all informed.
All right, you take care. And up next, China's reckoning is coming. Victor Davis Hanson is here next on how we should be holding China accountable and what we still don't know about this disease.
Shaq Sports Hour. You're listening to Shaq Sports Hour. We're talking predictions for MVP this year. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Shaq, my money's on the Epson EcoTank color printer.
Excuse me?
Oh, dude, it doesn't use cartridges and comes with a ridiculous amount of ink.
Sir?
Oh, it saves me a ton of trips to the store.
Sir?
Yeah?
You know MVP stands for most valuable player, not most valuable printer, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
MVP. I know sports.
Sports by Epson EcoTank. Just feel and chill. Available at Best Buy, Office Depot, and Staples.
Truck driving's a tough business. Making every decision on your own.
Where he was, you'll probably take that.
We can make like choosing the right truck insurance. Who can you talk with? OOIDA. Friendly people who understand independent owner-operators. OOIDA can help you build coverage that fits your needs with easy monthly payments and no hidden fees. Call 1-800-444-5791 to talk with an OOIDA truck insurance specialist.
OOIDA. Nobody knows trucking better. If you suffer from endless cycles of sinus infections or seasonal allergies, or if you're often congested, or if you snore, or if, like most of us, you're a little worried about what you're breathing in these days, here's an important message. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage, the world's only nasal irrigator with powered suction, and I used to have horrible sinus problems. I created Navage as an easy-to-use alternative to the neti and a drug-free alternative to pills, sprays, and scripts. Navage flushes out germs, allergens, and dirt naturally without drugs. In fact, in a recent independent survey of over 2,000 customers, 91% said they feel healthier thanks to Navage. Here's my promise to you. Try Navage. If it doesn't relieve congestion and help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less,
Come on, let's go to the next day. Let's get on with it. It's a long day.
Ask refund. Online at Navage.com or in stores at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, and Bed Bath & Beyond. That's Navage, Navage.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, corporate employee, athlete, or just passionate about fitness, F45 Training is the perfect opportunity for you. Backed by Mark Wahlberg, F45 Training is a global fitness community specializing in 45-minute high-intensity group workouts that are fast, fun, and generate rapid results for members based on 3 core values: innovation, motivation, and results. F45 Training combines functional fitness, a motivating, supportive in-studio environment, and nutritional guidance for our members. The fitness industry continues to grow rapidly, and in just 6 years, F45 is already one of the fastest-growing fitness franchisors in the United States. For more information on owning your own F45 franchise and reserving your territory, dial pound 250, say F45 franchise, and we'll send a franchise inquiry directly to your phone. That's pound 250, keyword F45 franchise, pound 250, F45 franchise. Dial pound 250, say F45 franchise.
In the rough.
Hey, Kelly Slater here. Some of you may know me as a professional surfer, but today I want to talk to you about my clothing company, Outer Known. I've been fortunate to have been sponsored by big clothing companies since I was a teenager, but only in the past decade or so did I put much thought into how clothing is made and who is making it. Once I started looking into it, the reality alarmed me enough to not renew my sponsorships and to start Outer Known to show that clothes can be made the right way for people and planet from start to finish. One of the biggest things I've learned is that choosing the materials that go into clothing makes a huge impact on our planet. One of my favorite items is our jeans, which we call sea jeans. They're made at the world's cleanest denim facilities, which use less water, less harmful chemicals, and organic cotton. They are so solid we guarantee them for life. If your jeans tear or wear out, we'll take them back, repair them, or send you a new pair. So if you're like me and you care about the impact you make on the planet, check out our sea jeans at outerknown.com.
Get your sustainable Outer Known clothing by visiting outerknown.com. Use code JEANS for 25% off. That's outerknown.com, outer, O-U-T-E-R, known, K-N-O-W-N.com, and use code JEANS.
Nancy Grace is coming to Fox Nation.
I want justice.
Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, available now, only on Fox Nation.
We have hospitals that are going to start to break this weekend, not weeks from now, not months from now, in the next few days. And so it's time for the words to be
not too
matched with
bad at
kind of
all.
the same
From the
tempo
to be
of
precise.
actually doing things, as they did in China. They built hospitals in 2 or 3 days.
It's amazing what slave labor will do for you. Well, that was former Vice President Biden Chief of Staff Ron Klain praising China for their response to the coronavirus. Victor Davis Hanson senior fellow at the Hoover Institution, joins me now. Victor and I have been talking about China for, I don't know, Victor, how long? 20 years now? No one would listen. They didn't want to listen, but now they're listening. So, what about the new, and not new, but the press lauding China's response, given China's role in creating this disaster zone across the globe?
Only a time.
Well, they have the most insidious and nefarious state-run media complex that I've ever seen, and we're underestimating them. When you get lectures from the most non-diverse, intolerant, and racialist country in the world that we're racist when they put 1 million people in camps whose religious views they didn't approve of, you know something's wrong. Or when you have the NBA in this country, or Michael Bloomberg or Joe Biden talk about we're being xenophobic or we don't appreciate how consensual China is, you know that the nexus is either they themselves or members of their family have business interests. And so we've got to wake up, and you've outlined the need to protect strategic industries, medical supplies and rare earths and semiconductors, and we got to do that carefully so they don't cut it off right now, or they don't cut prices later to destroy them. But I would also ask Laura, why are our universities who have run up $1.6 trillion in student debt, or students that attend these, why do they feel they have to have 360,000 Chinese students as profit cash cows to subsidize their inefficient operations? I know that 99% of that 300,000 plus are fine students, but the 1% is what I'm worried about. They're engaged in technological appropriation at best and espionage at worst. Why do we have to have 20,000 people going back and forth per day between China and the United States without any passport or health care or visa control? And you remember there were 500,000 Chinese nationals who came into Seattle, SFO, LAX, West Coast airports between the time the Chinese government knew that this was contagious and the travel ban. And finally, Laura, one kind of eccentric suggestion is there used to be common wisdom in our bipartisan foreign policy going back to Henry Kissinger that China and Russia would not be better friends to one another than they are to us. And with this Mueller hysteria about Russia, we lost a realist triangulation card with Russia. And there's countries in the world that have been terrified of China, Russia included, who has a long border, India. Right. So we need to develop realist approaches to people that we might not otherwise want to, be that close. And one of it is Russia, and normalize that relationship. Closer relationships with India. Yeah, who's been a model citizen is South Korea, Taiwan especially, and Japan. And they have legitimate concerns about China. We've got to get closer relations with all of these countries.
We needed a Russian reset, and instead we got Mueller. So that's what happened there. But Victor, I love how the WHO, courtesy of China, the World Health Organization, doesn't allow Taiwan to be part of the whole WHO either. So that's out the window because of China. So China is in bed with the World Health Organization, and that's part of the reallocation of medical supplies to Europe. They're begging China for help, and they're getting it. Same with little places like the Bahamas are getting help. So China has a lot of money still, and they make everything. So now they have the power over us that we never should have given them in the first place. Real quick, close it out.
They salt money through the elites of all these westernized countries, and then they have a wonderful propaganda, and it is that they're poor victims in the identity politics sense of being racist by our inbred red state interior mentalities. Yeah, it is, and they're exploiting it ruthlessly and shamelessly, and we're falling for it. And somebody's got to stand up and just say, we don't care what you say, we're not going to cease our criticism of the way you treated the world and us in particular. And I think we've just got to ignore this propaganda, but it's very effective and it's insidious. It's all through our
Victor, we got to roll.
And
they suck it up because they get the cash. So the universities get cash. Victor, thank you so much. Great to see you tonight.
Even as the market shifts from day to day, the coronavirus is slowing our economy to a near standstill. And we're almost certainly anticipating a recession.
Well, the coronavirus is causing a lot of fear, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering and uncertainty. Every American is affected by this, but it's our response to this outbreak that's wreaking the havoc on our economy. Now, today we learned that Ford, GM, and Chrysler are all closing down through at least the end of the month out of health concerns. Hundreds of shopping malls are closing. Think about all the businesses, the food courts housed within those malls, just those alone. The ripple effects will be huge. And over on Wall Street, of course, the Dow just melted down. It was down at one point, over 2,000 points, but it tumbled 1,300 points. But of course, the real pain is being felt on Main Street. They always pay. The ordinary working class Americans always eat the dust in these circumstances. Government policies to limit travel, force bars, movie theaters, other businesses to close down might be the right policy. We'll know in a few months if it was, but it's taking its toll. And jobless claims are spiking. For instance, nearly 15,000 unemployment benefits in New Jersey yesterday alone. That's 12 times more than normal. That gives you a sense of where we're going. The Connecticut Labor Department is now processing 10,000 jobless filings a day, 20 times more than normal. So many people are filing for unemployment that the websites for Kentucky, Oregon, and New York all crashed. Nevada said it's closing down for 30 days. No Nevada businesses, 30 days, except essential ones. Now, as we said, we think we need to follow all necessary, orders, rules to try to slow the spread of this virus down. And it looks like this is what we're going to have to do now because we didn't know about it soon enough. But you have to really think about this. What if we're wrong?
These guys are
Joining me now is Amity Schlaze, chairman of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation and author of Great Society. Love the book. Amity, if we are wrong about the response needed for this virus to slow it down, what will we say looking back on this time about what we did to our economy and what we did to our businesses and our workers and our families?
Thank you, Laura. Well, historically, we've responded to crises by extending government. That's what happens in the Great Society, and it's what happened in the 1930s, of course, when the market crashed the way it's been crashing this week. We said, government's the answer here, just as we're doing actually with the coronavirus, as you've been pointing out, rather than individuals are the answer. But, Laura, a crisis is also an opportunity. Rahm Emanuel said a crisis is a terrible thing to waste, and he was right, not just for progressives, but also for free marketeers. So it really depends on the quality of the government reaction, what kind of recession we get, whether it's a blip recession or a long recession. And all signs, unfortunately, so far are more of the long recession kind because they're the big government solutions.
Let's go through some of the aid package. Of course,
the
president signed tonight. Here it is. Here are the phase 3 proposals, I should say, from the House Financial Services Committee. We'll put it up on the screen. Now, this is sent by Maxine Waters, okay? Here are some of the proposals. $2,000 a month they want for adults, $1,000 for children. Suspend consumer and small business credit payments. Prohibit debt collection, repossession, and wage garnishment. $5 billion emergency homeless assistance, ban all evictions and foreclosures, $10 billion for community development block grants. Now that's a wish list of liberalism, but is there a little bit of that socialism/liberalism in the deal that ends up being struck with the multiple deals?
Well, yes. I mean, when Republicans don't do too well, that's what the New Deal showed when they offer a lighter version of what Democrats are going to offer, because Democrats are always going to promise more spending by the government than Republicans. So Republicans are kind of doing this in vain. What would be really interesting to see would be if the government would dare to be different in its response to this crisis, which is very specific, at least for the moment, to a disease. So, for example, one thing the government might do is we'll send people who need money. We'll be humanitarian, but we'll define that as humanitarian, not economic. We won't pretend it's economic, and then we'll do a couple wild things to make the economy and certainly the market come back. I can name two, Laura, right off the top of my head. One is...
All right, Amity, can you hold that? Can you hold your thought? Because we're going to have you on tomorrow to finish this. Because we have to talk to you about what could still be done that's a little outside the box that might set us on even a better path. Amity, thank you so much. And up ahead, how are people filling their time in quarantine? And what does Joe Biden's victory speech last night really tell us about the state of his campaign? Raymond Arroyo has all the answers. Seen and unseen next.
What if you could see the context behind every email? What if all that context, every discussion, document, and decision was organized together in one shared space? Then it wouldn't be email at all. Break out of the inbox and have informed conversations in Slack. Discussions happen in channels, so everything and everyone related to a project is in one place. All the context you need is just to scroll or search away. Slack. Choose a better way to work. Get started at slack.com.
The Landstar business model gives professional drivers the freedom to decide what to haul, where to run, and when to go home. There's no forced dispatch at Landstar, so you call the shots. Plus, Landstar owner-operators get exclusive savings on fuel, tires, equipment, and more. Whether you specialize in van, flatbed, stack, or heavy specialized, define success on your terms. As an independent owner-operator, lease to Landstar. Visit leasetolandstar.com to find out why owner-operators call Landstar home.
It seems the days of neighbor helping neighbor are long gone. Maybe not. People like Kelly are reversing that trend by joining the Nextdoor app and connecting with neighbors.
We set up carpooling for getting our kids to their sports. We have our community garage sale. We share coupons with one another. The trick-or-treating information. We help our seniors. We help each other with meals when there's a hardship. We can get out in the streets and we can meet each other and help each other with whatever it is. We communicate, and it makes our community so much safer. It's absolutely wonderful.
When neighbors start talking, good things happen. Connect with them on the Nextdoor app today.
I just absolutely love Nextdoor because, to me, it brings back the good old days.
Meet the helpful neighbors you never knew you had. Visit Nextdoor.com or download the app. If it's happening in your neighborhood, it's happening on Nextdoor.
For years, you've been thinking about LASIK. You've been talking about LASIK. So now, it's finally time to get LASIK. Right now, LASIK Plus is offering LASIK starting at just $250 per eye. If you're nearsighted, farsighted, or even if you have an astigmatism, LASIK Plus can help fix your vision, starting at just $250 per eye. Our best price ever. So get rid of the daily hassles of contacts and glasses and enjoy the newfound freedom of LASIK from LASIK Plus. Call 844-343-2020 or visit LASIK250.com today and schedule your free LASIK exam. The LASIK Plus doctors are among the area's most experienced LASIK surgeons, so take advantage of this amazing LASIK Plus price today. Call 844-343-2020 or visit LASIK250.com. Results may vary. Restrictions apply. See details at LASIK250.com.
If you're in HR, you're probably wearing a lot of hats. Recruiter, team builder, trainer, mediator, policymaker, and of course, paper pusher. But not anymore. Bamboo HR is the #1 HR software for small and medium businesses. It manages all your employee data easily and automates countless tasks, so you can focus on people, not paperwork. Bamboo HR frees you from spreadsheets, so you can do your real job, creating a great place to work. If the data shuffle and paperwork mountain have you ready to hang up all your hats, you're ready for Bamboo. If you handle HR records and paperwork, Bamboo HR is a dream. Let us free up your time and put your days of pushing paperwork behind you, so you can focus on the people and making your company a great place to work for everyone. Try PC Magazine's top pick for HR software free today. Just go to bamboohr.com/Fox. This is a limited offer only available to radio listeners at bamboohr.com/Fox. That's bamboohr.com/Fox.
Attention Walmart shoppers. This is a Jackson Hewitt tax service announcement. Save time and money with Jackson Hewitt and Walmart. For a limited time, you can shop while a skilled Jackson Hewitt tax pro prepares your federal tax return for as little as $48, but no more than $149. Only at Jackson Hewitt and Walmart. Hurry, this offer won't last. Get your coupon code and terms at jacksonhewitt.com. Then stop by one of our Walmart locations for this limited time offer to get your taxes done while you shop for only $149 or less. That's Jackson Hewitt and Walmart.
It's time for our Seen and Unseen segment where we reveal the story behind the headlines. For details, we're joined by Raymond Arroyo, Fox News contributor, author of Will Wilder 3, The Amulet of Power, in paperback, March 24th. I already have mine. Raymond, you've got some big political news. We haven't been talking politics all that much. You have it tonight to report. What is it?
Laura, Bernie Sanders' presidential prospects are dwindling before our eyes. He's not out of the race officially. Joe Biden swept all three primaries in Illinois, Arizona, and Florida last night. And though Sanders may be having an enormous influence on this coming race, last night, due to the coronavirus outbreak, Biden streamed his victory speech from his home in Delaware. Listen closely to this revealing
Middle of the fairway, dead middle of the fairway. Lovely shot.
Disagree on tactics, but we share a common vision for the need to provide affordable health care for all Americans, reduce income inequity that has risen so drastically, to tackling the existential threat of our time, climate change.
Climate change is the existential threat facing us in the midst of the coronavirus. Laura, when he said Bernie Sanders and I share a common vision, what it proves is Bernie Sanders has dragged Biden all the way to the left and really taken away his electoral argument that he could appeal to the middle of America.
Well, blue-collar Joe is kind of faded in the background there. But, I mean, the common mission is get Trump. Common mission is get Trump. Well, that's the only mission they have. And they wouldn't have done anything different to make this whole virus situation any better. They would have opened up the borders. We would have had more people here. So I don't even want to hear about how Biden would have done a better job. What a joke that is.
You can fire it right.
Biden is becoming the William McKinley of 2020. Remember, McKinley did the front porch campaign? Biden's doing it out of his garage. And there was a moment at the end of the speech, Laura, watch this, which I think it showed how lost Biden is. Just look.
My hopes are high because I believe in times of crisis, Americans have always stepped up. We have to step up and care for one another. Thank you all. Thank you all for listening. Oh. Thanks. Okay.
It was shaky when he was up, but after that was a dreadful part.
Laura, the Biden home is turning into a place for granddad. Okay, his entire speech ran about 5 minutes.
Okay.
He looked as if he didn't know where he was. Jill was a surprise to him. Can you imagine if Joe Biden were dealing with the crisis as Trump is dealing with now?
No.
With back-to-back emergency meetings and hour-long pressers, this would not hold up well.
No, okay, Raymond, there is no way, he would have, and his team of Obama-nauts would have dealt with this situation any differently. It's not like Obama had millions of tests, in his back pocket that would have emerged in this. Trump was handed the deck he got from Obama, and they're ramping this thing up fast. They were dealing with a deceitful country like China, and now we're finally catching up. But the idea that they would have done it, that guy would have done any better than Donald Trump, I don't think so. All right, tell me about quarantine creativity really quick. What are people saying? Doing behind closed doors.
People are really finding interesting ways to contend with being homebound. Now, look, we're going through this at my house. In between homework meltdowns and snack runs, we've already had our first Monopoquake, I call it. That's when you sit down to play Monopoly and somebody starts to lose, and, well, this happens.
Fake game! I was cheated bigly! Her email! They're in jail!
Others have gotten very creative, Laura, in the games they play during this quarantine. A friend of actor James Wood hosted a fascinating poker game. You've heard of 5-card stud? This is 5-card stud. They're betting toilet paper.
Oh my God, that's just fun. Send me a memo when the toilet paper memes have faded from the internet. Okay, I'm about done with those at this point. All right, we got to roll, but we got to roll, Raymond. Okay. There's a scene from St. Patrick's Day which we want to just end with, real quick because we're out of time. But can we put that up on the screen real quick?
St. Patrick's Day was canceled, Laura, but on Fifth Avenue, a lone bagpiper put on his kilt and he celebrated all alone. And in my mind, he's celebrating for all of us. We've got to keep this spirit alive in our hearts and in our homes until we can come back together and do this war. We'll get through this.
Yeah, we're going to get through it, but being cooped up certainly makes us creative with the kids, doesn't it, Raymond? And I hope you found all the pieces from the Monopoly game that you turned over when Rebecca started beating you. Okay, we got to go. All right, Raymond, thanks so much.
See you later in the week.
All right, we warned you before that George Soros-backed prosecutors were bad news. We've talked about this for months. Now they're using the coronavirus as an excuse to do what? To let criminals free. Isn't that a great idea? Bernie Kerik is here. He's going to expose the latest erosion of our criminal justice system next.
Sport Clips Haircuts is giving your hair the thank you it deserves. Now through April 5th, get $5 off the double MVP when you check in online. Use our app or use your voice and let your smart speaker do all the work. Then head out and prepare to be groomed for greatness. It's $5 off the double MVP and a cut that will get double takes.
That's a beautiful tee shot, right down the middle of this fairway.
Receive discount code. Opt-in consent not conditioned on purchase. Offer expired 4/5/20. Standard message and data rates may apply. See terms at sportclips.com/thank you.
Whether you're an entrepreneur, corporate employee, athlete, or just passionate about fitness, F45 Training is the perfect opportunity for you. Backed by Mark Wahlberg, F45 Training is a global fitness community specializing in 45-minute high-intensity group workouts that are fast, fun, and generate rapid results for members based on 3 core values: innovation, motivation, and results. F45 Training combines functional fitness, a motivating, supportive in-studio environment, and nutritional guidance for our members. The fitness industry continues to grow rapidly, and in just 6 years, F45 is already one of the fastest-growing fitness franchisors in the United States. For more information on owning your own F45 franchise and reserving your territory, dial #250
perfect
F45
layup.
franchise, and we'll send a franchise inquiry directly to your phone. That's #250 keyword F45 franchise. #250 F45 franchise. Dial #250. Say F45 franchise.
Cars for Kids needs your old vehicle. Maybe it runs, maybe it doesn't. We want it and we need it. Your old car, truck, or motorcycle can help with a new start for a kid in need when you donate to Cars for Kids. Here's how our program works. Donated cars are auctioned off and the proceeds go directly to support kids who have dropped out of high school. The CAN Academies are dropout prevention and recovery experts with a primary focus on reading and thinking. The CAN Academies have been in business since 1985 and have 14 campuses. So please donate today and help save a life. Here's what you get: free towing, a tax deduction, and a $50 Visa gift card as our way of saying thank you. You also get the satisfaction of knowing you're helping get a kid back in school. Cars for Kids makes it easy. To donate or find out more, please call 866-835-5437. That's 866-835-5437. Or carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org. And remember, write off the car, not the kid.
As an owner-operator, with so much of your time spent on the road, time off the road should be yours, not spent on admin tasks like calculating payroll and making sure you've maximized your deductions. That's where Sure Payroll comes in. You've logged thousands of miles on the road. We've logged nearly 20 years of providing easy online payroll services to thousands of small businesses across the U.S. If you and your drivers are W-2 employees, with Sure Payroll, you can pay yourself and file your taxes in minutes, anywhere, anytime, online or on your smartphone. W-2s are handled and accurate tax filings are guaranteed. With Sure Payroll, you can keep your payroll under control, and there's no contract. And if you need help, Sure Payroll's award-winning U.S.-based customer service is there, even on weekends and evenings. More time for you, less time on payroll and taxes. Try Sure Payroll free for a month. Visit SurePayroll.com now or call 800-456-1170. 800-456-1170. SurePayroll.com.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hill, founder of Tax Tiger. If you happen to have unfiled or unpaid taxes, Tax Tiger can protect you from the IRS, release wage and bank levies, and negotiate awesome settlements. Above all, Tax Tiger is a company which operates based on Christian principles. If you have an IRS problem, call us today at 1-800-IRS-9196 for a free consultation. 1-800-IRS-9196 or visit us online at taxtiger.com.
It's True Justice all month long on Fox Nation. Exclusive shows about the shocking crimes, famous cases, and the people who fight for true justice. Go to foxnation.com and stream these exclusive shows right now.
I love live TV because when I see something, I just have to tell you about it. All right. Philly introducing catch and release policies for now looters and drug dealers until the coronavirus ends. Okay. They're releasing prisoners in LA and other places like I think Sacramento and so forth. And now Michael Avenatti says that he should be released early because of the coronavirus, along with Madoff and a couple of of other ne'er-do-wells. Joining me now is former NYPD Commissioner Bernie Carrick. All right, Bernie, I get it. Like, we don't want a pandemic in prisons, and some of the corrections officers in New York, I believe, have tested positive. But now this is just a get-out-of-jail-free card for all these people that a lot of us know all too well.
Well, there's two things, Laura. First of all, in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, there is a compassionate and elderly release program that has certain criteria where the inmates can get out over 65 years old. They're ready to walk out the door. I think the president should put out an executive order, or the attorney general, get them out of the system, because they are the people susceptible to this disease, and they're leaving anyway. Get them out. But on the other end, these prosecutors that are doing the catch and release is no different than the bail reform stuff here in New York City. They're doing it in Brooklyn. They're doing it in Philly. It endangers the community. It endangers the cops, the men and women that are out there doing a job that nobody else wants to do with this, especially today. And it's putting people at risk. And I think it's just crazy.
Yeah, in Cuyahoga County, Ohio, Bernie, they released inmates that then they were claiming that was only low-level, nonviolent offenders. So that they pledged that those are the only people who would be let go. Except they also just released a murder suspect. The man in question pled guilty to severely abusing his 4-month-old child 10 years ago, and prosecutors say his infant son later died from those multiple blunt force trauma injuries. Bernie, that's the problem, is it not?
That's exactly the problem. There is no criteria. They're not using any specific criteria. They're just putting people out of prison. In the BOP, in the federal system, where they just had 2 officers in the last several hours were identified in the BOP that had the virus, they have a criteria for the older inmates that are ready to get out them out of the system. You don't want them.
All right, we hit that. But Bernie, we hit that. But what we're talking about is drug dealers, looters, people who've been arrested and taking it. And some of them, I imagine, taking advantage of the current panic.
There's no
in the
way
lockdown.
They should be let out. Absolutely.
Well, they're being cited. I think it's called cite and release. So cite, write up a citation, like, not that I ever get traffic citations, but if you get a citation, Bernie, and then you're just out.
They're
but
basically
exactly what you said.
They're doing like in New York City.
Unbelievable.
Desk appearance tickets. They lock them
that's
up.
gonna work.
They give them a desk appearance ticket, and they basically say, show up in court. And most of these guys, especially those kind of crimes, they don't show up anyway. They have to be held accountable. It's emboldening criminal conduct, because they know they're going to get released anyway. Mm-hmm. They come back and do it all over again.
Hey, Bernie, I have to ask you about something people keep emailing me about. We only have about a minute left. In times where things are locked down for extended periods of time, stores and so forth, when do you worry about potential for bad criminal activity, such as looting? And what do you do when you lock stuff down? That gets dangerous over long periods of time. Real quick.
You know what, Laura? In the aftermath of September 11th, in that first week or so, we didn't see no crime at all. The bad guys were even afraid. After a period of time, after that second week, then they go haywire. Then you got to get people out there. Then they're really running rampant. And in this case, if you're not locking them up, and they know they're not going to get locked up, or they're going to get released, they're going to be out there twice as bad.
All right, Bernie, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much. Stay safe out there. And don't go away. The last bite is next.
A tournament like the Players' Championship demands control, precision, and accuracy out of every shot, and that's why I trust my Mizunos. This is Adam Shank, and I'm excited to take on every demanding shot this course requires, because I know I'll get the ultimate in feel and control from my clubs, which is why I have been trusting my Mizunos for over a decade.
Well, that was a
Visit
nice enough shot.
MizunoUSA.com to find
Gets out of a lot of
nearest
trouble.
local retailer. See and experience why professional and amateur golfers alike continue to say that it feels like a Mizuno.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online.
Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-900-6926. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-900-6926. That's 800-900-6926. 800-900-6926. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you can save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-901-3022. 800-901-3022. 800-901-3022.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Wait. I just learned that 70% of kids check their mobile device within 30 minutes of falling asleep at night. That's just not healthy. If you're a parent like me, you want the best for your kids, and that includes getting the sleep they need. That's why you need Circle, the award-winning parental control tool for the internet. With the Circle device and app, setting custom bedtimes for each family member is simple. When bedtime comes, all internet devices are automatically shut off and then back on again at the time you choose. You can even set a different time for weekends. Circle means goodbye late-night scrolling when they should be sleeping. No wonder Circle has been getting rave reviews from USA Today, People Magazine, and more. Pause the internet on your schedule. Get $30 off a Circle Home Plus at meetcircle.com/racing. That's meetcircle.com/racing. meetcircle.com/racing.
Think every on-demand home fitness bike is created equal?
Think again. Well over
The Mix Fitness Home Cycling Studio is so much more. Mix Fitness focuses your workouts using the only measure that matters, your heart rate.
I love that Mix Fitness doesn't try to motivate me by putting me on a leaderboard against 1,000 random people. I get to choose from hundreds of awesome classes with great instructors that help me reach my personal goals. Mix totally gets me.
My Mix Fitness came with a gym quality bike, a huge adjustable HD screen, and even a yoga mat, a heart rate monitor, weights, and resistance bands, so I can do everything from cycling to yoga to floor exercises. Mix is the most complete home studio with twice the benefits at half the price.
Try Mix Fitness risk-free for 30 days. Order now at mixfitness.com/SXM and use promo code SXM to save $200 and get free shipping. That's MYXFitness.com/SXM and use code SXM for free shipping and $200 off.
All right, we know people don't have enough personal protective gear to go into stores and so forth. So people in Texas are getting really creative with old costumes they found in the closet somewhere. Check this out. Little cute dinosaurs. The problem is my sons would go up and hug the dinosaurs, and that would cause another problem. Imagine the germs carried on that costume. Anyway, that's all the time we have tonight. Stay strong, everybody. Shannon Bream and the Fox News at Night team take it all from here. Shannon.
Yeah, Laura, I think wearing one of those costumes right now could be a lot of fun. It might be something worth investigating.
Exactly.
Why not? Thank you so much, Laura.
Have a great show.
Right, tonight, invoking the Defense Production Act, the president unleashing authority that could activate the U.S. military to ramp up critical supplies.
State governors coast to coast also considering the expanded role the National Guard could soon be playing. As the death toll rises here in the U.S. to 139, Italy reporting nearly 500 deaths in a single day. An Italian doctor's emotional plea for help and supplies and medical professionals, he says things are desperate. And coronavirus hitting Capitol Hill, 2 lawmakers, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat now testing positive. We'll ask Congressman Devin Nunes about that and about how quickly relief efforts could flow to American workers and businesses. Hello and welcome to Fox News at Night. I'm Shannon Bream in Washington. We begin night 58 of the coronavirus hitting the U.S. with Leland Bittert on the widening military mobilization across our country. Hey, Leland.
Good evening to you, Shannon. President Trump now says he is a wartime president in a war against the coronavirus. And that gives him a lot of authority in addition to deploying field hospitals and offering perhaps air support if it is necessary as commander-in-chief. He can now tell private industry what to do.
Down the center of the fairway.
We will be invoking the Defense Production Act.
With that, the president can now exert control over vast parts of American manufacturing, including requiring companies to accept and prioritize contracts from the government and giving suppliers access to loans and special guarantees. Millions of masks are on order to replace the 5 million N95 respirator masks, 2,000 ventilators, and other personal protective equipment released from the Defense Department's strategic reserves. Crews are now working to ready the USNS Comfort Hospital ship so it can sail in mid-April to New York and take in non-corona patients.
It's 1,000 beds. It's 12 operating rooms. It's ICUs. It's
Well,
got
let's see how he handles
suites.
this bunker
It's
shot.
got X-rays, CAT scans. It's got laboratories. That is literally a huge floating hospital.
The USNS Mercy in San Diego is also available with similar capabilities, but the president hasn't set a destination for it yet. And the Army Corps of Engineers says they are looking at contingency plans for expanding current medical facilities. The Air Force today airlifted 500,000 COVID-19 test kits from Italy to the United States, and governors in 22 states have activated their National Guards for various jobs. But the Defense Secretary warns deploying military doctors will come at a price.
All those doctors and nurses either come from our medical treatment facilities or they come from the reserves, which means civilians. And so what we got to be very conscious of and careful of as we call up these units that we aren't robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And to that point, it's probably not a